My name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani. Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 159. Page 159, and today is our lesson number 57. Let's take a look at it. Page 159, the second problem on the page, number 52. They're asking us how much is square root of 80 plus the square root of 125. Let's take a look at it. Square root of 80, in order to figure out square root of 80, we have to break it up into its factors. To start dividing by the least possible prime number that you can find. Let's divide by 2. We get 40. Divide by 2 one more time. We get 20. Divide by 2 one more time. We get 10. Divide by 2 one more time. We get a 5. Very good. These are the prime factors. The prime factors of 80. If somebody were to ask you what are the prime factors of 80, you will say 2 and 5. 2 and 5 are the prime factors. Do you understand? But anyway, 80 equals 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, and 16 times 5 is 80. So that's what this is. 80 can be written as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. And then similarly 125 can be written as 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25, 25 times 5 times 5 is 125. And if you were to do it out, it's very simple actually. 125, you can't divide it by 2 because it's not an even number, you can't divide it by 3. How do we know that this is not divisible by 3? How do we know that 125 is not divisible by 3? Well, it's very simple, we have done it many times. If the sum of the digits is divisible by 3, then the number itself is divisible by 3. The sum of the digit here would be, 1 plus 2 plus 5. 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 8. 8 is not divisible by 3, so 125 is not divisible by 3. It's not divisible by 4 obviously because it wasn't divisible by 2. In order for a number to be divisible by 4, it has to be at least an even number. It has to be, in other words, it has to be divisible by 2. It is divisible by 5 because it ends in a 5. Anything that ends in a 5 or a 0 is divisible by 5. So let's divide by 5. How many 5 in a 1? There are 0 5s in a 1. That 1 goes and joins this 12. Joins the 2, becomes 12. How many 5s in a 12? There are 2 5s in a 12. The remaining 2 goes and joins this guy, becomes 25. How many 5s in 25? 25 has 5 5s. And we go one more round. We go one more round, and that's how we get 5 times 5 times 5. So when we're taking a square root sign, 2 times 2 is 4, and square root of 4 is 2. So that pair comes out as 2. There's another one, 2 times 2 is 4, and square root of 4 is 2. And what we are left with inside the radical sign is just 5. Similarly here, 5 times 5 is 25, and square root of 25 is 5, so it comes out. And then inside we are left with this 5 here. Now here we have, in the first part we have a square root of 5, and here we have a square root of 5. We can take the square root of 5 common. That can be taken out common. Square root of 5, and then inside the parentheses we are left with 2 times 2, which is 4, and here we are left with 5. So it ends up being, now before I finish the last step, let's understand what we did here. Square root of 5 is square root of 5. This is the same as doing this. If we have p times q plus r times q, p times q plus r times q can be written as q times p plus r. Of course, it can be written as q times p plus r, because if you were to open the parentheses, we get p times q, and we get q times r. The same thing is going on here. So we end up with 9 times root 5. Here it appears, of course, as 5 times root 5 times 9, but the convention dictates that we write 9 first rather. And therefore the answer is A. The answer is A. Let's do one more, the next one, number 53, okay? We have a sip first. Number 53. In number 53 they tell us that the average of 10, 30 and 50 average of 10, 30 and 50 is 5 more than the average of 20, 40 and X. Now listen carefully. There are two ways you can go about this problem. One is what I would call the traditional way, the orthodox way, the conventional way, the academic way, the mathematical way, the geeky way, the nerdy way, the proper way, and the other is what I would call the quick and dirty way. I'm not going to do it the traditional way. You know how to do it traditional way. I'm just going to do it in a little bit different way. Let's see if you like it. Okay, here's what's going on. The average of 10, 30 and 50 is 5 more than the average of 20, 40 and X, which tells us, this implies that the average of, if you were to take 5 away from this guy, if you take away 5 away from this guy, and if you take away 5 away from this guy, that tells us that the average of 5, 25 and 45 must be same as average of 20, 40 and X. Why? Why does the average of these three numbers has to be same as the average of those numbers? Because we were told the average of 10, 30 and 50 is 5 more. It's 5 more. So if you were to simply take away 5 from each of these numbers, then the average of these new numbers must be the same as the average of those three numbers. You with me so far? Now, if the average of these three numbers is same as the average of those three numbers, that implies that their sum must be equal. That's how the average must be the same, because how do you find the average? You add up the three numbers and divide by 3. Since the average is the same, their sum must be the same. That implies that 5 plus 25 plus 45 must equal 20 plus 40 plus X. You with me so far? I hope you are, because we are almost there. Okay, watch what happens. I'm not gonna actually do out all the nitty-gritty step, because that will actually kill the whole thing. Let's subtract 20 from both sides. If you subtract 20 from both sides, this 20 drops out and this 25 becomes a 5. Let's subtract 40 from both sides, shall we? If we subtract 40 from both sides, this 40 drops out and this 45 becomes a 5. Voila. Our X is 5 plus 5 plus 5. Our X is 15. That's it. That's all there is. X equals 15. Now if you like, you can do it in a traditional manner and verify the answer, of course, if that is what you wish. Well, it's not that is what you wish. I think you should do it. Verify the answer on your own by the traditional method and you will see it's the same answer. Let's do the next one, shall we? Number 55. I need one more step. Just give me a second. All right. Number 55. In number 55, they give us an equation, or rather number 54. In number 54, the very last question in the first column, they give us an equation. They tell us y equals kx plus 3. And we are told that y is constant. Y is constant. The value of the y does not change. And we are told that when y equals 17, x equals 2. Or something, or the other way around, doesn't matter. They're telling you the other way around, they're telling you that when x equals 2, y is 17, it's the same thing, it doesn't matter. The question simply is, what is the value of y? What is the value of y when x equals 4? Let's take a look at it. The very first thing we need to do is figure out what this k guy is. What is the value of the k? We need to figure out the value of the k, and then we're going to do it by using this information. So if you were to, what they're telling you is that if you were to replace y by 17 and x by 2, this equation should hold. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's substitute 17 for y in this equation, so we get 17 equals to k times x, which is 2, plus 3. We're just simply putting in the values of x and y, we're replacing y by 17 and x by 2. So that tells us that 2 times k equals 17 minus 3. 17 minus 3, which is 14. And therefore k equals 7. That's it, we have the value of the k, we have our equation. Y equals 7 times x plus 3. We just replace the k by 7. We just found that k equals 7. This k here, we replace it by 7, and we end up with this equation right here. And now we use this bit of information. We figure out what y is when x is equal to 4. Put in x equal to 4 and figure out y. Y equals 7 times x equals to 4 plus 3. 7 4s are 28 plus 3 is 31. Voila, that's our answer. That's our final answer. Y equals 31, and that's an answer choice B. That's all there is. That's it, we're done. We're done for today. I will see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.